Breaking the gray.
Sarah Turner, it's been a couple of days since we've seen each other. We've talked, but you look amazing today. How are you?
Yes, I'm great. Thanks, Russ. All good. Yeah,
Good.
I've got as far as LA.
You made it. So
I made
the manifest destiny of Sarah Turner making it to the best coast has happened. You're here.
Yeah, I did it. Took a while.
There's a miracle about to happen this weekend where Sarah Turner and I are going to meet for the first time in person. Never met in person. We are COVID BFFs, and so that'll happen this weekend. And then I'm sure there'll be a rainbow that will appear over the oceans of the Pacific coast. But that rainbow looks like it ends in Mexico because we have our guest here today who's in Mexico.
Totally. Yeah, for sure. Roudy, thank you so much for joining us from Mexico. I mean, it looks totally fabulous where you are. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Drinking coconut water, surfing in the ocean, catching sunrises and sunsets.
Yeah,
Can get
I
better.
bet you are. How brilliant.
Where about Mexico are you?
I'm in Puerto Escondido at the Pacific.
Oh, beautiful. That's great.
Just arrived here from Canada 10 days ago.
Okay,
Great.
that was a great Canada exodus.
It's the cold weather. Yeah, you're getting away from the cold weather, huh?
Well, I actually love the cold weather, to be honest. And my friends call me crazy because I'm always swimming in the cold water for 15 minutes every morning at 5 a.m. when it's still dark. And I think winter's time is a very magical time to me. I go inwards. And even physiologically, the body goes into autophagy and cellular repair much more in the winter than in summer. So I honor all seasons. I love the seasonal change, to be honest.
Yeah.
We've had a guest who does all the cold. We spoke about the cold and the effects of the cold. We had Andreas Breitfeld, who's in Germany, talk about that. But it is lovely. And it is lovely, like you say, to kind of do something that's respecting your physiology. Totally applaud that.
Definitely.
Roudy, we on the podcast, we talk to all the kind of change makers in science and alternative health, everything around gut health, brain health, longevity. What are some of the areas that you focus on? I know we're going to talk a lot about your product, but I'd love to hear about kind of what areas do you really like to specialize in when helping people and helping yourself?
Well, I like to help people to unveil the true power of light, which I consider is the purest form of energy that fuels our life and a fundamental missing link in our current self-care routine that often I see in my experience and the experience of others that help people to lose weight, supercharge their energy, and transform their health. And I know that, in the holistic field, many people nowadays are practicing more holistic approaches such as mindfulness, exercise, healthy diets, supplements. And I always like to introduce people to maximizing healthy light in their life while eliminating junk light so that they complete that equation and amplify and strengthen every diet, supplement, and health protocol that they're currently practicing.
That's great. What are you basing that on, Roudy? What kind of concept are you basing it on? Because I think you're right. Light is one of the things that people tend to think about last. People start diet and exercise is usually top of the list. So what are you basing that on that, you think light should be prioritized in that way?
Well, that's a great question. And, most people think that light is not that big of a deal. They think of it as something superficial that makes vision possible. However, it's much more profound, powerful, and influential than this. And when I talk about the power of light, I like to refer back to Albert Einstein, who taught us through his law of relativity, E equal mc squared, that light and matter are exactly the same thing. And that when light slows down, it condenses down and becomes mass or matter. And this means that everything around you at this moment, including you and the planet, was once light and is profoundly influenced by light. And I love to contemplate the beauty of this equation every morning, every sunrise, because this equation means that when light is hitting the cornea of the eye, it's slowing down. And through this light, we are being recreated and regenerated with new life. Our brain tissues, our heart, our organs are being recreated with new light energy. And this is not philosophy. This is quantum physics, which I think at the moment, we're in a very interesting phase where conventional medicine and the old paradigm, looking at the body as molecules and molecularly, is shifting into understanding more the body in terms of electrons and photons.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's the age of biophysics, hopefully, because we need that piece. We need that piece for our health. And I think probably that's one of the pieces that got chucked out, where everyone was so excited with the discovery of pharmaceuticals, because they work, but now we need something else. We've moved past that. And so I think you're exactly right. Yeah, we need to start embracing biophysics. That's super cool. So how do you explain that to people? Because, that's quite a difficult concept. You can understand it cerebrally, but then how do you get people to apply it?
Well, I mean, it's a very deep concept, and usually while explaining to people, it will really depend on the level of their understanding and whether I'm talking to someone who is familiar with the quantum biology and quantum physics or not. But to break it down in simple ways, we now know that mitochondria is the power engine in our bodies that burn the food that we eat and produce all of our energy in the form of ATP or adenosine triphosphate. And we can think of this ATP as a currency. And when it splits open, it creates the dollars or the energy units that our body needs in order to create energy. And in a nutshell, the better our mitochondria is working, the more ATP it produces, and the more energy we have to heal and carry out optimal daily functions, from thinking to digesting to sleeping and so on. Now, it has recently come to light that mitochondria is not only an energy producer, but it plays a fundamentally essential role in sensing what is going on in the environment and mediating communication between the environment and the cell. And one of the most important pieces of information throughout evolution is light. And this is literally because our mitochondria evolved around the ocean from a single cell organism for the past 1.5 billion years to become this super powerful engine that's able to produce unlimited amount of energy all day, every day. And these mitochondria evolved under full spectrum sunlight, which maximizes its ability to produce energy. And they are also designed to repair themselves at night in complete darkness. Now, here's the problem. For me personally, I was for so many years exposing myself to very little sunlight during the day, and I was sabotaging myself with late night screens, computer use, and artificial light exposure everywhere, in the mall, in the streets, wherever I go, I was surrounded by this light. And it turns out that this artificial light at night is destroying our melatonin. Now, why is that important? Because melatonin is the highest antioxidant in nature, and it is used by our mitochondria to repair itself at night. So technically, this explains also why I was still struggling with my health, even after optimizing my diet, exercise, and meditation. I was overexposing myself to artificial light, and it was destroying the engine in my body. Now, when I speak about the engine, I like to give this analogy because people could relate to it. We love cars, we relate to cars. And just like a car's engine requires fuel oxygen, and a spark to create an internal combustion and burn that food to generate energy. Our mitochondria is very similar. It requires fuel in the form of food, oxygen, and a spark in the form of light to ignite the process of metabolism. So if the ignition system of the car is not working properly, we cannot expect that the car will be able to run, right?
Mm-hmm.
And similarly, if we only focus on vitamins, supplements, and food, and our light is toxic, we won't be able to solve the problem that is caused by the appropriate wavelength of light to ignite the process of metabolism in our mitochondria.
Okay. So basically you've got two forms of light then, because you said that you want the right form of light to get the mitochondria working efficiently, but then at night you don't want that light. So what is the mechanism there? Because I think that's something that people are not clear on, because I know, I'm here in LA, of course, and everything lights up at night, and even in this hotel room, I mean, you wouldn't believe how many little lights and things there are here in the hotel room. I actually have tape and I've gone round, but it took me a while. But I think people, even now, they think it's convenient. They think, okay, I need light for my health. I'm getting light. But what about this? What about this toxic light? I think that's probably one of the things that is a bit of a gap for people.
Totally. I mean, when I say toxic light, it's day and night, because technically as humans, we want full spectrum bright light from sunlight through its visible and invisible frequencies to nourish our body. And we got to start thinking of light as a nutrient. So many people today know that in order to get the full nutrients to their body, they got to eat different types of food. And every type of food has different nutritional value. Now, similarly, light also has different nutritional value depending on the frequency that we're exposing ourselves to it. And every frequency is extremely important. Okay. So when we are during the day sitting under artificial light that is very deficient, often very high in the blue and deficient in all the other frequencies of colors and the invisible frequencies, we are depriving ourselves from this nutrition. Now, the problem is that we come at night, and as humans for thousands of years, we've evolved to get this darkness, which signals to our brain that the day is ending. And as a result, we start winding down, and it activates so many different physiological processes in our body, like our core temperature drops down, our heartbeat calms down, and our energy start being directed inwardly towards rejuvenation and repair. We start recalibrating our emotions and consolidating the memories based on the learning that we've done. Now, what do I mean by junk light? Junk light is a type of light that you're exposing yourself to at night that is confusing your brain and body about the time of the day. So rather than our bodies preparing for sleep and rejuvenation, we get wired and anxious, thinking or being confused that it's still 12 noon. And therefore it disrupts all of these physiological processes that are designed for healing and rejuvenation.
Right. I actually like that analogy of junk light. I think, people realize, you get up in the middle of the night, you eat a bag of chips, you eat a donut, you do something, that you're doing something wrong. But I think, people don't realize just looking in the fridge straight away, the light is probably one of the main things that you're doing wrong, even before you've eaten anything. It would be cool if there was some kind of label, like you have on junk food.
Totally.
Okay, I mean, your phone, if you're going to do it, it's like a treat. It's like something, that it's equivalent to eating a bag of chips, or it's like a donut, if you're going to.
Yeah. And the issue is that, we're on these devices now, especially with the remote work and our phones in our hands everywhere. We are on these devices 8 to 12 hours a day. So
well,
what
and
is
we have
that
access,
creating?
it's not like everything goes off at night, is it? You have it there. Yeah.
Right. So what is that creating though? What is that causing our what is it causing our body to do now that we're in front of this toxic light 8 to 12 hours a day? Is it killing us? Well, we're dying already, but what is it doing to us?
Well, one of my mentors, Dr. Jack Cruz, which I've heard speaking probably 7 years ago. And at the time, I was desperately looking for a solution to heal my depression and chronic fatigue. And after going to so many different practitioners, holistic doctors, and conventional doctors, I was feeling very desperate and I couldn't find a solution. And one day, I was listening to Dr. Jack Cruz, and he was explaining how artificial light, or actually light, affects our mental health and sleep. And he said the right type of light at the right time of the day can create wonders and healing.
Mm-hmm.
However, the wrong type of light at the wrong time of the day is making us ill, depressed, and sick.
Yeah.
And at the time, he was the first guy I ever heard talking about the power of light. I mean, light can affect us in so many different ways. One of which is circadian. And it doesn't stop there because there's much more than circadian biology. But to answer part of your question, I'm going to talk a little bit about circadian rhythm, because I personally used to sleep 10 to 12 hours every single night to then lack the energy, motivation, and focus the following day. And even though I slept for long hours, I wasn't getting restful night's sleep. Now, most people think that if they sleep for 8 hours, that's it, they got it. But that's not actually true. And you can only understand what it's like to sleep well when you start sleeping well. And if you're not sleeping well, you're not consciously aware of what it is like to live in rhythm and sleep well. And what I learned is sleeping well and living in rhythm do not happen by chance. It happens by design. And how well we sleep and how rested we feel when we wake up the second morning is governed by a universal code or rhythm, okay? And this code is called the circadian rhythm. Now, circadian comes from the Latin word circa and dia, which means approximately a day or 24 hours. And this rhythm literally exists in all animals, humans, and plants. We all experience an unescapable change in the environment. And this change is governed by the law of rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
The day must become night. And in order for all of us to adapt to this daily change, we have had to develop an internal clock that controls the timing of our daily functions to an optimal time of the day or the night during the 24-hour cycle, because we cannot do everything at the same time. Mm-hmm. We have optimized window to do particular things at particular times of the day. Now, being in sync with the light environment will enable our internal clock to perfectly time our sleep, activity, and nutrition so that they start happening at optimal times within the 24-hour cycle. And this means that if you eat, you'll digest much better. If you sleep, you'll access much better sleep. If you study and learn, you're much more efficient and you'll get things done in much less time. And this means living in perfect rhythm.
So it's interesting that you came via Jack Cruz, because that was also my introduction to that. A lot of these concepts, especially quantum biology, I think he really, like you say, he really was there at the start when people were first talking about it. Is that what kind of made you sort of change direction and maybe focus yourself? Because I know obviously now you set up a company around these concepts, but was kind of getting better through utilizing that kind of in training your circadian biology what set you off on a different path, or were you already going down that route?
Well, to be honest with you, when I started studying Jack Cruz, Dr. Jacob Liberman, and so many different other doctors, all of these things stayed intellectual concepts to me.
Right.
I understood them at the conscious level. However, I had no practical application whatsoever of these concepts because my subconscious mind was still programmed to do things in the old way.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even though I considered myself to really understand those concepts, my results were saying something different. However, miraculously, a specific event changed all of that. I spent several weeks on a farm camping. It was a rural farm, okay? and I was exposed only to natural light during the day and candles and firelight during the evening. And within a matter of days, I start winding down in the evening, feeling relaxed and sleeping shortly after the sunset, to then wake up before the sunrise for the first time in my life, feeling
great.
refreshed, energized, and
Yeah.
balanced. I literally went from feeling foggy-headed, almost suicidal, to feeling alive, motivated, and focused. I didn't change my diet, I didn't take supplements, and I didn't exercise or meditate differently. I was in complete awe. And I asked myself every night under the stars, literally, like, how is that magic happening? But unfortunately, when I moved back from the farm to the city, I fell back into my old terrible routine. And within a few days, I got depressed again, and I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
So at this point, I was,
there's something interesting. I just spent the weekend in Seattle. My daughter moved up there for college. And look, being in clouds and rain is where I spend most of my time anyway, but it really impacted me. I felt a severe change in everything. I found a severe change in just trying to find light, and because the sun goes down earlier there as well. What do you do in an environment, and Sarah and I have talked about this, but because Sarah lives in London, but what do you do in an environment where you don't have the natural sunlight? You're surrounded by clouds, or it's raining all the time, or like you said, you're going from an environment where you're free of unnatural light, going back to a place where it's a city and you've got all these, blares of light coming at you. What can you do to kind of reset it and get yourself into a place where you've got some balance and so your circadian rhythm's working?
So just to make sure that I understand well, are you asking what do I do during the day or at night? Because I do different things during the day than at night.
Let's start with the day, and then we'll go to the night.
Totally. So with the day, I'm gonna consider that I'm now back to Canada, and it's a super gloomy, rainy day. I wake up in the morning and I still go outside, because on the most gloomy day ever, it's at least 10 times more bright than the brightest light inside. But not only this, the sun is still there, but it's behind the clouds. And this means that you're still getting the fullness of the frequencies of light. Now, the only difference is from a circadian perspective, in order to activate the light sensors in your eyes that signal to your central clock that it's daytime, you got to spend more time outdoors, because we have a system in the hypothalamus that add up photons. And when we wake up first thing in the morning, we need around 100,000 photons or 100,000 lux plus in order to activate that ancient system in the hypothalamus to signal to our body that it's daytime, so that we can start feeling productive, creative, and awake. Now, if the sun is not as bright, the only thing we got to do is spend more time outside so that we can sum up those photons over time.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is just get outside,
Totally.
Get outside and get the light.
Whether
It's not
cloudy,
really much. It's simple.
Yeah.
It's very simple when you kind of think about it. And people, I think, like you say, you try and intellectually understand it, but really the message is very simple. Get outside
100%.
in the day, see the natural sunlight.
No matter how cloudy it is, no matter how gloomy it is, remember that it's going to be much better than what you get indoors.
Yeah.
Now, at night, it's a completely different equation, because, well, as soon as the sun sets, there's a decline in the frequencies of blue and green and of brightness. And the sun doesn't do this instantly, right? There's a sequence, an orderly sequence, a beautiful one, where there's a transition between from higher color temperatures to lower color temperatures, transitioning into the darkness of the night. And in the world of quantum physics, light is information. And all of this transition to lower brightness and the decline in blue and green light is signaling to our bodies that the day is ending. And technically, when we want to come back home, we want to avoid stimulating ourselves with a second sun from artificial lights. So what do? There's no escape from these lights. We got to face it. We live in a modern world where these lights are everywhere. Personally, I turn my apartment into a cave at night, and I make it so dark. I love it, and I got used to it. And people first freak out when they hear this, but I bet that anyone listening right now, if they run an experiment of making it a cave with candles at night, only for 3 days, staying patient with this, they will never get back to turning a lot of artificial lights at night, because the effects are phenomenal. I mean, my imagination gets better, my memory gets better, my meditation gets better, I don't get hungry. All of these different benefits, they're phenomenal. But if I'm around, friends and they want to turn on the lights, that's where I make use of the beautiful VivaRays glasses, which I wear them if I'm going to a mall, if I'm going to the airport, and if I don't have full control over my light environment, which means I have friends over, I'm going to visit friends, etc.
Now, I want to just stop on this one part, because we've talked to Molly McGrath, who's a sleep expert, and we've had a few other sleep people on, and I like to personalize all this, because I tend to be the newbie of the bunch, and all this is new to me. And I changed my sleep habits, and one of the things I really focused on was getting in the dark and really focusing on that. I have found that my like you said, my dreams, my creativity, my hours of staying asleep and not waking up in the middle of the night to do whatever it is. I moved from a room where we have like a loft upstairs where we have a lot of natural light that comes in. We have windows everywhere, to this room where it is a cave. Significantly changed, my sleep habits. I'm curious around, what you said, in terms of like, what if you have a house where you have a lot of light? How, cover your eyes, right? What are things that you can suggest to people where, they have a lot of light, or they have a partner who likes to have the lights on at night, whatever.
Oh,
what do you do to
isn't it? Then you have to do...
Technically, the first thing I do if I'm around people who want that light is I put my VivaRays either evening or nighttime glasses. And that will depend on the time of the day. I mean, the nighttime glasses, I would put them 1 hour before bed, because they are designed to block all of the blue, all of the green, and decrease the brightness by 20 times, which is a very special feature that we came up with based on the latest circadian research. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. And I also advise people to position the lights lower to the ground versus overhead, because we didn't talk yet about melanopsin ganglion cells, but those neurons are light sensors that sit in the retina, and they are sensitive to blue and green light. But not only this, it turns out that they are sensitive to brightness and to the angle of the light through which by which it's hitting the eyes. And this means...
That's a good hack. That's a great hack, Roudy, actually. If you're going to have the light, put it low down. It's, that's like the definition of a hack, because at least then you're not getting the light at that angle that's the most destructive.
Totally, because melanopsin are most saturated in the lower half of the retina.
Oh, great.
And because there's a lens in front of the retina, because of the nature of the lens, there's an inversion that happens, which means that overhead light is what actually stimulates melanopsin. And it makes sense because sunlight is overhead, right?
Yeah, of course.
So technically putting the lights lower at the floor is a great technique as well. Now, you also want to decrease the brightness. And if you have no control over this, if you have no control of over eliminating blue and green light, definitely these guys are life saviors.
You need to describe them a bit, Roudy, because normally we just put out the audio for this.
Yeah,
so
definitely. I forgot
to describe
that.
The glasses a bit more.
Yes, for sure. So technically, we have 3 different lens technologies for different times of the day, okay? I'm going to describe the evening and the nighttime because we're talking about evening routines. And the evening are designed to mimic the color temperature of the fire or the twilight at 1800 kelvins. Now, why is so? Let me ask you, how do you feel usually when you're around the fire?
Great. Yeah, it's a lovely feeling.
Totally. You feel relaxed.
Yeah.
And you feel, you
Not
calm down,
that
you
often,
wind down.
Roudy, I have to admit.
Totally.
bonfire night. We've just missed bonfire night in England, but apart from that, you know, it's rare in a city, you know, to do that unless you're off camping somewhere, which, you know.
And yes, I agree with you. I mean, there's not many people spending time around the fire nowadays. And I think the fire is one of the fundamental elements that we need in winter, coming back to what we talked about at the beginning of the podcast. But these guys are engineered to mimic this same color temperature at 1800 kelvins. And it turns out that this color temperature of twilight is wired with our nervous system to signal a parasympathetic state of calmness and relaxation. And this makes sense because this is what we evolved to see for thousands of years. And I love these guys in the evening because they block all the blue, yet they keep enough green so that you can still function and do your evening activities like driving, socializing, and finishing your evening tasks.
Yeah, that's good because I have blue blockers. I have them, but I only wear them if I'm in an airport or somewhere really awful because otherwise I can't see what I'm doing.
Totally.
You know, they're too dark. And then what happens is I end up putting them on top of my head and then what's the point in that? You know, so I find that a lot of the blue blocking glasses are too dark.
Right. I mean, you want to put those dark ones like these guys, the red tinted glasses for VivaRays, which are designed to block all the blue, all the green, and decrease the brightness by 20 times around 1 hour before bedtime. That's when you set your mind that you're actually doing all the things that are relaxing, such as laying on the ground, breathing, doing your meditation, and things from that nature. And these guys will definitely boost your melatonin production and growth hormone, enabling you to sleep much deeper and sleep without waking up and access those restful sleep states that I personally weren't able to access without blocking artificial light at night. And I'd like to add something because there's a paper that I was reading recently by Dr. Samer Hitar. He's a circadian biologist. And he published a paper showing how artificial light arriving at the eyes at night suppresses our dopamine production the following day and negatively influence our cognition and memory. And this means that we're much more likely to wake up feeling much less happy and much more unsatisfied. And we're also much more likely to be feeling less productive at our work because our cognition and memory is being negatively affected by this light. And I found this to be very interesting when we think about it in conjunction with the knowledge that we now have that morning sunlight actually increases our dopamine. So we have this beautiful equation of protecting our dopamine at night and enhancing our dopamine through healthy light in the morning.
Yeah, that's great.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating. The body is so clever, and we've tried to, you know, we think we're more clever by inventing all these lights, but you can't get around it. You know, you really do need to respect that and try and do what you can to get back to that natural state. And it's crazy that we have to have all, you know, you've invented these fabulous glasses and things, but we're just in a crazy situation now of trying to play catch up with nature. But that is a cool hack. And I love the way that you have the different shades so that you don't have to go straight into the dark one. You can do it gradually. That's very cool. I don't think other ones do it like that, do they? The other blue blocking glasses.
Totally. I think this is a common problem in the blue blocking glasses industry, that most of the companies are blocking blue light in the same way all day. And the problem with this is like living under a sun that is not changing its position and colors in the sky. It doesn't work that way. And the sequence of colors that we need to go through is very important information for our system. And this is what inspired us to create 3 different technologies for 3 different times of the day. And what I love about this system is that you can seamlessly transition from one lens to another without needing to change the frames, which makes it much more convenient and practical as well.
Yeah, so because what you've got there, it's like how is it sticking on the front?
Yeah, it's like snapping on. There's like a very slight minimized magnet
Oh, okay.
that
So
you
you're
could
just
snap on.
Yeah, so you've just got one pair of glasses, and then you've got the other lenses just go on with a magnet. That's
Totally.
very clever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's very clever.
You could transition from one to the other.
Yeah, I love it.
So Roudy, your company, the product you're showing us is VivaRays, and it's VivaRays, VivaRays.
Totally. Yes. And also, I want to invite you guys and invite the audience to go on VivaRays.com and download our free guide. It's called Light, the Key to Mastering Your Sleep and Energy. And it's packed with strategies, tips, and information so that you can take actionable steps today and elevate your light environment to a whole new level so you can fully master your sleep, have more energy and focus, and become more productive. And it's very short and sweet.
That's great. Yeah. That's super cool.
Well, yeah, we'll add it to our blog. We do a blog. Sarah and I write a blog. We put up our transcript, but we put up a blog after every episode. So we'll put it in there. We'll put your links in there and feature it. So what Sarah and I like to do at the end of each of our episodes is we ask our guests to give us a 7-day challenge that we like to do over 7 days. Then Sarah and I will come back and see how we did. Typically, I fail. Sarah succeeds. Some of them have been hard. Some of them have been really easy. I couldn't do a headstand long enough to even get a picture of it.
Oh, really? I wondered where that.
Yeah, Sarah got hers.
You weren't sharing that.
It's also hard to get a picture of yourself taking a handstand. I have to tell you, it was a lot of nostril shot.
I had to get one of your lovely girls to help you out.
I know. They don't pay attention to me. So, Roudy, what would be something that you might ask us to do to sort of, a change of pace, something that would get us into better, to capture better circadian rhythms, better light? What are some of those things what's an idea you have for us?
Well, as soon as the sun sets, you come back home and you turn your apartment into a cave for 7 days. No artificial lights, only candles are allowed. And an hour before you go to bed, you even make it more dark by turning off the candles and putting your nighttime glasses for 7 days. And I'd love to hear from you how you're going to feel afterwards.
I really want to do this one.
Me too.
But I'm going to put a but in here for the first time. I mean, I've probably got in the next 7 days, I think I've got 5 flights. So this one is trickier for me because but maybe I will park this one. And as soon as I get back to the Netherlands, this will be my challenge. So you're on your own this time, Russ.
I got it. I can do it.
Well, I'm with you, Russ.
Yeah, come on, Russ, you can do it. Yes, I will definitely do it. And maybe I will get the glasses and do it that way because, this is a real challenge because people do, you have to travel. People do need to do things where you can't maintain this routine. So we're a good test here. You do the routine, Russ. I'll do the glasses.
Okay.
And we'll meet in the middle
Roudy,
next week.
Let's do it. And Roudy, your comment about the farm and being out there, I had a similar experience going to New Mexico where we really did sort of just, kind of follow the flow of the light. It was the middle of winter. It was about a year ago. We went there. We did it for a month. And I've never felt more relaxed, more part of the natural environment that I was in, because we did that. We followed the natural light. We didn't have a lot of light in the house. We were living in a geometric dome, so we had great light. There was an actual an area in the house where they had all these green plants and a lot of oxygen in the house. We felt very much at peace in the home. So. I'm excited to do this. Roudy, please enjoy your time down in Mexico. It looks beautiful. I hear the birds behind you. And Sarah and I will gratefully go to VivaRays and get some of your glasses. I'm also going to pick up, I see some of your eye masks. I have a giant Labrador retriever who, if I leave anything out on the bed, he demolishes it with his mouth. So he's eaten my last 2 eye masks. So I'm going to grab this blackout sleeping mask on there as well, and make sure I get that.
Awesome. Cool. Beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you for spending the time, Roudy.
Totally. That was such a pleasure.
Really interesting. Yes. Take care.
Such a pleasure to to explore the power of light. And I want to leave the audience with one sentence: turn the light outside in order to turn the light within.
Brilliant.
Love it.
Turn off the light outside in order to turn on the light within.
That's it. That's the one.
That's like biblical. Like I was going to say, if I was going to say that, you know, the use of light in the Bible and in all religious doctrine, the discussion of light, because light is so important, especially when those documents were written. There was no light in the home. They were carrying around torches and candles, but light is so important because it was the thing that created their day. But it's such a religious thing too. And, you know, having these two light experts next to me, I feel like I'm singing from the same hymn book finally, and I understand it. So thank you both for your knowledge. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Wonderful, Russ.
Pleasure, Russ.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Well, Sarah.
Hi, Russ. It's that time again.
See me? You can't see me, can you? Because I'm in the dark. It's like totally black, right?
Is this what you've been doing? Hiding under the bed for a week with the lights off?
He said, get into the natural light. And I went into the dark and I got lost in my bedroom. I can't get out of here. Hopefully someone can come in here, my wife, anyone, to give me a flashlight to get out of here. But I've been living in the dark now for a week.
Yeah, man. Yes.
It's okay.
It's okay. Do you feel better? Are you now readjusted?
I'm readjusted. I will say, though, and it goes all the way back to Molly, our guest that we had, McLaughlin, earlier. My sleep habits have really completely adjusted in the last year. I've really made sure to focus on sleep. I did have one night this week where I woke up at 2 a.m. and didn't go back to bed. That was only because I wanted to get through a documentary that was 6 hours. It was the only time I had to watch it. But let's not admit that. But really trying to just sleep in the dark and get everything turned off. And we were joking earlier about, you know, those that scream and yell, and we respond to them all the time. Like, oh my God, they need us. Well, our dogs are in crates at night. And if they yelp in their crate, I don't hear them because I'm going to bed and I'm not going to get up. And they know if they're in their crate, it's bedtime. And I kind of feel the same way. When I'm in my bedroom, I'm caged. I can't get out. I got to stay in here and I got to go to sleep. That's it.
That's good for you. That was good advice from Roudy, and super cool. And I loved it. I have to say, I've done a bit of an inverse 7-day challenge for the Roudy challenge, because I've done the exact opposite of what he said. I've kind of gone from, I actually have a very, very good sleep routine and I have blackout blinds, the whole lot. But I had a family drama here this week and I was called into the hospital a lot. And I have to say, I really noticed the difference. Like from my normal going to bed at 9 o'clock, turning everything out and feeling great, to going to the hospital all hours, strip lights, all of that stuff. It really does make a big difference. So
Isn't it weird? Isn't that weird about hospitals that, you know, that they make hospitals really hard to sleep and rest? Because isn't that when we recover? Yeah.
Well, this is what I always say, you know, really, as much as you can, stay out of the hospital. So the last place you want to be if you're really sick.
It's true.
No.
Well, they're trying to churn beds too, so they're probably trying to get us out of there. Whether they're trying
no, and I shouldn't say that. And there is, of course, a place, and people are working very hard in hospitals, and there's a place if you know, for something acute. But in all seriousness, if you've got a long-term condition, you know, you do not want to be surrounded by beeping noises, people waking you up, strip lights, and you know, strange toad in the hole dishes. You know, all the other strange things that they give you in hospital. I actually said to my relative, you know, have you eaten today? And he said, well, I had a packet of bourbon biscuits, which are like these really just sugary biscuits. That's all he'd had. So, you know, and it's like, God, this is hardly a place to get healthy. But so the upshot of all that is I totally appreciate what Roudy was saying, because I did the opposite and I felt really bad. So I actually thought he was excellent in, you know, how he was getting the message out. He said some things that, you know, even I hadn't considered, you know, like the angle of the light in your room. Yeah. You know, the angle of penetration of light in your eye has a big effect because we're used to seeing, you know, sunlight and moonlight from overhead. So the actual receptors in your eye are different at different places in your eye. So to try to keep, if you're going to have lights on, keep them low, keep them orange and red, and, you know, don't look at them directly. Don't have great big lights coming out of your ceiling. That was very cool. Interesting. Yeah. But why? I mean, why does that matter? The angle? Because all of the light sources that we've known up until 200 years ago when we've got light bulbs are coming out the sky.
Yeah.
So, so of course, our whole bodies are geared up for being outside where we receive the light from above, the sun and the moon and the star, all the light comes from above. And then that red light comes from the side because, of sunrise and sunset, you have the light at different angles at different times of the day.
I see. Okay.
So, of course, our body is totally geared up for recognizing not only the wavelength of light, but also the angle of the light.
Yeah. We've talked about light so much. We did spend a lot of our first season talking about your expertise in light, and we'll have some big announcements coming in season 3 here with Sarah. We weren't going to give away the secret yet.
No spoilers yet.
No spoilers yet, but let's talk through like, are there, I know there's like sunrise, get out there, get that sunrise at angled red light. Are there devices we should be getting quickly? Things that we can do that can kind of give us a quick jolt of light? Should we stick stuff up our nose?
Yeah, we should definitely be sticking stuff. I have an intranasal that I travel with.
You do?
Which does red and near infrared. Yeah. I have one
expensive?
Actually. Dr. Joe DeGiro sent it to me, but I think it's one of his devices, and I think it's about $150. I think if you go on his website, he's actually doing bundles at the moment of the transcranial and the intranasal. And we could put that in our gift guide.
Yes.
But yes, you can get very small devices, and I also use a product that my umbrella company has sent to me called Lumaflex, which is like a flexible panel that you can use. Very easy. It's battery operated. I also travel with that one. Okay.
But those are good. Those are good.
But as Roudy said, the best thing to do is to get out in the sun as much as possible, to get outside, even if there is no sun. Maybe use these red light devices, to supplement, but not instead of getting outside.
Yeah, the supplements for sure.
There's supplements. Well, it's like anything, with food supplements or whatever it is, you have light supplements. It's the same thing.
Maybe we should change maybe we should change the name of our podcast to Rebel Supplements.
Let's not.
We're not doing that. And if someone takes that, we already own it. So don't try stealing it. Don't try stealing it. Roudy's company is VivaRays, right? VivaRays.com. We'll put that in our blog. He does have some great blue blocking glasses. He has some really fun and stylish too glasses. You know
what I liked about his glasses, because I've got blue blockers and my blue blockers are too dark, so I don't wear them very much because I'm a little bit short-sighted anyway. So when I wear I just end up walking into things and getting frustrated. They end up on my head.
Yeah.
And then I think, well, I've spent the whole evening with a pair of glasses on my head. That was hopeless. But Roudy's ones are graded, so you put the glasses on, and then when you want to get it darker, it's got a magnetic clip where you just clip on. I think you can even do it twice. I think it goes darker and then darker again.
Oh, wow.
I think they've even got 3 lenses. So I'm definitely getting some, because then you can have them on the light one. And then if you do go somewhere horrible, like I could have done with them last night when I was at the hospital, you can just clip on the extra dark ones, and hey presto, you've blocked all that light out. So his product is excellent. I think they're going to be great. I'm looking forward to getting mine.
Okay, good. Yeah, I did purchase his eye mask, which I was telling you earlier. Sonny he just loves to eat everything in our house. Has eaten 4 of my eye masks since my Molly McLaughlin, our episode. I don't know what it is about him. And someone, if they hear this, this is a 2-year-old lab who just loves to chew on everything in the house. And everything is now, because he's a English lab, so he's a little pudgy. And got a little extra weight on him.
Of course, too many crumpets.
A little extra custard around the belly. Mm-hmm. But I really liked the VivaRays eye mask. It's good. It actually like kind of fits around the eyes, and it stays on my head, because who knows what I'm doing at night. But most nights I wake up and that eye mask is like on the floor in the other room. I have no idea what's going on, but if I ever recorded myself, I'm sure I'm probably driving around and at the bars, and who knows what I'm doing at night.
Who knows? It's better not to know, but yes.
Better not to know.
Yeah, we loved Roudy. Is the upshot of all of that. We thought he was
Roudy,
great.
again, shedding more light on the subject of light,
Yeah.
which is what we're here to do. Just keep shedding more light on light. Sarah, thank you.
Thank you, Russ.
Enjoy the rest of your beautiful
have
day.
Sweet dreams tonight. I hope you stay put and get a good night's sleep.
I will. I've got my movies I've got queued up to watch tonight. I won't tell you because I don't want to. I don't want to. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I know. I don't want to timestamp our podcast, but I'm actually looking forward to watching Spencer, which I shouldn't do it, but like I've heard she's done quite a nice job doing the Princess Diana.
Oh my good! I can't believe you're going to give up your circadian biology and your health to watch Spencer.
I know. It's that, or rewatching the Beatles documentary, which I've already watched all 6 hours. Amazing documentary. We're not here to give that any more extra press, but that was a master class, as Paul and I talked about today, a master class in creative in actually building and being creative.
Okay, well these are treats like junk. This is like junk.
Yeah.
TV, like the junk music. It's treats for every now and then, but on the whole, bed at 9 with your eye mask on, 8 hours sleep.
Okay. I still haven't eaten dinner by 9. I should have eaten dinner in bed while I'm watching movies.
It is me not listening.
I have not been trained well. This is what happens when you let the lab rat out of the cage.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what? I can go do whatever I want, and then you pull me back in, and I'm like, oh my God.
Keep repeating the lesson, and sooner or later you're going to get it, Russ.
That's why we'll be at season 15 on this, because I don't follow the rules. Rebel Lab Rat right here. Okay. Again, we own that one. All right, Sarah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Russ. Take care.
The Rebel Scientist Podcast is a Breaking the Gray production. Created by Russ Eisenman and Paul Wood. Hosted by Sarah Turner. Music and sound editing by Logan Shea. For more information and other fantastic podcasts, visit breakingthegray.com. That's gray with an E. breakingthegray.com.
Breaking the gray.